Hello, everyone. I'm back. Let's discuss how the day went today. So, it all started when I woke up at exactly 10 a.m. and then I just decided to stay in bed and sleep and wake up and sleep until eventually it was exactly 11 a.m. I eventually forced myself to get up. And I remember having a dream where I was playing a PS2 looking video game that was very reminiscent to the game Jak and Daxter in terms of its graphical style. I remember it took place in like the desert, I'm sure. Um, but it was like, one of those games where it's like you have a far off scenic view of the desert in the distance, but the level you're playing in is like all the interesting craggy rock points of the desert, like the top and bottom, the ceiling and the floor, and the different levels of floor, kind of like a platformer. Um, so I thought that was kind of interesting, and it had like aliasing. Looks like it was in 480p. Not exactly sure what any of that was, but it was interesting nonetheless. Well, moving on. I remember when I got up from bed and I was walking off into the living room, I saw my sister was outside and she walked in the house. I greeted her, she greeted me, and she said she was going to be taking the ornaments off of the tree. So I was like, all right. And then I decided it would be a good idea to use the cookie batter that was still in the fridge to make some homemade cookies this morning because I was feeling in the mood for it. So I got some cookie batter. I got a bag that had a bunch of different stuff smashed in there, like pretzels and um, kettle chips, potato chips, um, and caramel corn, all kinds of things, cinnamon toast crunch, and I mixed that in with the cookies because that's how I made them last time. There was one ingredient that I forgot to include, and I feel so silly for not including it, and this was the Heath bits. I completely neglected that, and sorry, sad. Well, anywho, moving on. Once I was done mixing the cookie dough, and I did start the oven as I was working everything out, and I got a pan, I cut some parchment paper, I put it on the pan, I got the cookies, I had to roll them and move them around so they can moisten up before putting the bits of stuff in them, and then putting that on the parchment paper until I had 6 rounded cookies. And then I put those in the oven. They cooked for like 11 minutes. I took them out. I had to let them cool. And then I decided to make a cup of coffee and watch a YouTube video in my room. This video was about Digital Foundry and specifically their review. Tom Morgan. Tom Morgan is one of the hosts of Digital Foundry, and his review of the performance quality of Microsoft Flight Simulator on the PlayStation 5 and 5 Pro. Long story short, 30 frames per second. The Pro does run at a internal resolution of 1800p with the TAA that is present in the engine of Microsoft Flight Simulator being used to help stretch the image to a perceptible native 4K. Despite all of that, it ultimately just doesn't have the ability to make a convincing 4K-like image, although it is the best visual quality out of all of the console versions currently available. There is a problem, though, and it mostly comes down to the fact that the PlayStation version does not have the ability to natively download any area from the game onto storage. So if you have like an SSD, you can't put areas you can fly in the game on your SSD. You have to cloud stream them in. What this means is that you, if you wanted to play this game like only locally without a connection, you cannot. This game requires an internet connection, which is a shame. Other than that, the game does allow you to, on PlayStation 5 Pro specifically, have a wider rendering distance. So that's kind of cool. The PS5 version has a similar rendering distance to the Xbox Series X version. And, yeah, it's pretty much it. Nothing other than that. So, it was a pretty comprehensive review of that title and how it's able to look and perform. I enjoyed it. Moving along, I decided to watch another Digital Foundry video of Alex Battaglia and John Letterman talking about the best and worst PC ports that were released during the year of 2025. And they said that the absolute best port was Doom the Dark Ages, which was able to have path tracing and scale up to the highest end PCs and continue to look better and better as new GPUs get released. And the worst one was the Monster Hunter Wilds game, I think, or the new Monster Hunter that was released this year. It has terrible performance. It just looks extremely low res, and it has poor ray tracing implementation. It runs bad despite the fact it's not really rendering anything that would suggest that it's making impressive visuals that tank performance. It all just looks kind of mediocre. So ultimately, it is a real shame that game specifically ended the way it did, considering the RE engine is capable of so much more. And there was, of course, other games sprinkled in between, but that was their worst and best releases that they were talking about. Eventually, my mom arrived home. I greeted her, and she asked me if I could help clean the pool vacuum and move a concrete block that had the metal pipe sticking at the top that could be used as beam holders for the sunroof that she is working on. So I decided to say yes to that. But first, my sister made some split pea soup with bacon in it. And she decided to offer some to me and my mom and our family friend. And so we all were sitting around the table eating together. Actually, I don't think our family friend was with us, now I'm remembering. I think it was just me, my mom, and my sister. But nonetheless, it was really, it was pretty good soup. I liked it. It hit the spot. Next up, I went outside, I cleaned the pool vacuum, and then I threw it back in the pool and turned it on. After turning it on, I helped my mom move a concrete slab from one end of the backyard to another area of the backyard. Oh, and by the way, with my cookie, I also had some coffee to go along with it. And I almost forgot to mention, before my mom arrived, every now and then I would stop the Digital Foundry video and I would think about just random factoids to search up. Like, I noticed my SpongeBob pineapple box that I have on display on my Amazon vinyl player. And I was like, I wonder who is... I don't remember McDonald's ever promoting the SpongeBob show, so I asked the Google and looked it up. Turns out that Burger King is the sole promoter of the SpongeBob IP, which is pretty interesting. Um, Apparently, McDonald's only did promotion for international markets. And looks like Wendy's was also another promoter for SpongeBob with last year for their 25th anniversary with a Krabby Patty burger. One of the more interesting things about the promotion was that I remember reading that apparently the creator of the show, Stephen Hillenburg, did not enjoy the idea of advertising burgers to kids. He preferred, if there were to be fast food promotions, to only make it like toys instead. Never like say, here, eat the real Krabby Patty at the Burger King. Instead, it would be, here, you can get this toy at the Burger King. So that was his like stipulation. Apparently, one of the key facts about SpongeBob lore is that the Krabby Patties are vegan, according to Mr. Hillenburg. So because they're vegan, they could not be the burgers that are being promoted by Burger King. So I thought that was a pretty funny and interesting factoid. Interesting, after Hillenburg died, that's when Nickelodeon gave the green light to both Wendy's and Burger King to make their own version of the Krabby Patty burger, which, yeah, kind of neglects Hillenburg's wishes and kind of makes me feel a little guilty about eating the SpongeBob meal. Because, like, ooh, Hillenburg did not approve of that, and yet I supported it. I mean, I didn't know until today, but now that I do, I'm like, oops, feel kind of bad about that. Yikes. And then another factoid I searched up was apparently Hillenburg was okay with the Krabby Patty being represented with the Krabby Gummies. Reason being, he thought at least with Krabby Gummies, their nutritional value is plain to see and is all out. Whereas with a burger, there's so much hidden and like what is like actually nutritious for you and what isn't nutritious for you, that it ultimately just feels extremely dishonest and predatory to him. But he apparently liked the idea of Krabby Patties being gummy candies because at least you know what you're getting into, just sugar and fat. So I thought that was another interesting factoid that I just learned. And then I remember I showed my sister in this morning some. I remember I was telling her about like the Wii Sports Resort basketball theme and how much fun I thought that was, and then I decided to show her gameplay of the Wii Sports Resort basketball game natively running on a real Wii hooked up to a widescreen CRT television, the one that's hiding just in the corner over there. And I shot a few hoops into the basket, and when she saw that, she's like, "Oh," and I was like, "Hey, want to try?" She's like, "All right." So she tried it out, and I got 8, and I think she got 7 or 6. So yeah, that's one of the one of the fun things to do with those kinds of games, just to beat the other person's high score to see if you can. You know, it's simple, clean fun that I think is really missing with a lot of our modern games these days. Anyways, yeah, all that happened intermittently, and then one more thing I did with the Wii Sports Resort game was I decided to play the Wii Sports Frisbee Golf game on Wii Sports Resort, which was okay. In my opinion, the Wii Sports Resort Frisbee Golf game just felt like a more casual, friendly version of the original golf game from Wii Sports back on the original version of the game. Because, you know, one, you have to hit the ball in that tiny little golf hole, and each area that you land the ball in deducts or adds points based on like how good of performance you did hitting it. And in this game, it doesn't really matter where the frisbee lands, just as long as it lands somewhere. So it kind of loses some steam with the challenge. Another thing that loses steam is the hitting area for launching the frisbee into the goal is so wide that even though like, ooh, I managed to get into the goal, it just doesn't feel as rewarding as getting the ball into the hole in Wii Sports Golf, because at least with that you had to have some finesse with it. With this, it just feels like it's so broad and so open with how you can throw the frisbee that as long as you hit it in the general vicinity, you'll be fine. So even though it's mildly fun for like a quick shot, it just ultimately doesn't. It lacks the depth that made the original Wii Sports Golf much more interesting and fun to play, especially in groups. So, yeah, it's a cute novelty, but nothing more. And then after that, our family friend showed up. I helped take her wheelchair out from her car, and then after that, I remember I was continuing to watch the Digital Foundry video before my mom arrived, and I greeted her, and then my sister made the split pea soup, then cleaned the pool vacuum, then helped lift the heavy concrete thing, and then I needed to use the restroom. After that, I needed to get dressed for work. I said goodbye to my mom, my sister, and our family friend. I left, said I loved them, and then I drove off to work. When I eventually got there, the first hour was spent doing a lot, and then the next 3 hours and preceding hours afterwards would be spent doing sweeps, which I don't mind. I think it's fine. There was one problem I had throughout my whole experience, and that was the fact that I didn't wear a belt to work today, and so my pants kept on slipping down. I had to keep on lifting them up over and over again intermittently every like 2 to 3 minutes. It was so annoying that I vowed as soon as I punch out, I'm driving home and putting on a belt for lunch. And so that's exactly what I did. I drove home. My mom had a hot dog boiling in water ready for me, but I was so hungry I put another hot dog in there, so I had 2 hot dogs. As she told me that we were all out of mayonnaise, so I decided to put a pan on the stovetop and put some butter in there and melt the butter, and then put the 2 hot dog buns on there and get them crisped and buttered up. And it was really good. I put them on a plate. I put the hot dogs on top. I put mustard and zero sugar ketchup, on there, and then I put the last of my hot Cheetos on the plate, along with a can of Diet Dr. Thunder. And my mom and our family friend were just on their phones. I decided to be on my phone too. I was continuing to watch the Digital Foundry PC port video. And as I was watching it, my mom asked me what I was watching. I told her, and then she was like, all right. After which, our family friend gave me and my mom a special gift, and this gift was a special plug-in charger. I'm trying to see if I have it like close by so I could show you, but for whatever reason, oh, there it is. So this is what it looks like. That's it right there. There we go. Yeah, this thing. So, yeah, I plugged that into my my phone to see how it works. There's some pros and cons to it. One pro that I like is that it does work and it does charge your phone. One con that I don't like is it's a magnetic connector. See right there? And I mean, this is kind of cool that it came with a bunch of different adapters so it can connect to different devices like Apple devices or older devices. But the problem here is that you probably don't want your phone case to be on when you have this on, because when you connect it and then you take this off, the magnetic connector is stuck on the connector for your phone, which means that the only way to take it off is to take your phone cover off and then pull the magnetic connector off. So that's kind of a design flaw that I'm not a huge fan of. It wouldn't have been such of a big issue if they made it so like when you pop it in, like they I don't know, they maybe make it so it has a lock-on feature where it makes it impossible to take off unless the lock-on feature is turned off. But they didn't do that, and so now you've got that to contend with if you want to use this thing on your phone. I think it's still kind of cool because it like is a pretty convenient battery bank in a lot of ways. But then I'm just thinking about that friction when I put it on my phone, and like I know like if I take it off that this thing's gonna be stuck on there, and well, what if I want to use my phone, like connect my phone to like my PC and transfer files or whatever, or what if I want to connect my phone to a controller, and now I gotta take off like the jacket and pull at the magnetic connector to get it off. It just creates some friction that makes me like feel less likely like I'm gonna use this all the time, even though it is kind of neat and convenient in a lot of ways. That one bit of friction makes it a little annoying to work with, I must admit. But anyhow, moving along, I need to leave for work, so I left. As soon as I started my car gave a notification that apparently it needed gas. So I was like, oh gosh dang, I need gas. So I drove off to the gas station nearby my job, and I put 8 gallons in, which was $35. And when that was done, I had my full tank. I drove back to work, and when I got to work, my next 4 hours were spent doing sweeping duties, punching in my sweeps and all. But of course, I also had closing duties as well, which I did with my coworkers. And yeah, it ended up working out really well. Like I got a lot of help, and it was great. There was one awkward moment though, and that was one of my coworkers asked if it'd be alright if they could bring bags, which we need to refill in the front of the check stands for to help out with closing. I'm like, oh yes, please, I really do appreciate that. And then afterwards, the person said, oh, by the way, my hands are broken. And for whatever reason, I like misheard that as like, I don't know, like I'm handy if you need me or something like that. But after I heard that quick blip, I was like, woo! Like I thought like they were like saying something to confirm like they were ready to work, but then it wasn't until, and then they were like, after I said that, and then I didn't realize what they said until a little later, where I'm like, wait a minute, they didn't say that, they said that. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's embarrassing. So yeah, just a little bit of drama there, I guess, that makes it a little more interesting. Hopefully the person that I said that to knows that I didn't mean it, or it was like a misunderstanding. But yeah. Anywho, moving along. Yeah, it was a pretty basic closing night overall. Took out the trash, helped refill the bags, wiped down some check stands, closed the produce blinds. Did my sweeps, punched them in. Yeah. And around the end, I was talking with one of my coworkers who's a cashier, and he was telling me about a potential idea for joining a community college to teach myself how to draw through various techniques. Even gave me some things to look into and research. Apparently, things that are, and I got on my handy dandy notebook right here. Things that you need to look out for, or not notebook, but note that was given on a receipt. You need to know contour, you need to know values, you need to know light logic, you need to know color theory, proportions, and perspective. So I'm going to have to keep that in mind for when I'm doing my own research and studying on art and developing my artistic abilities and skills. All right, and then he recommended a good tablet that can be connected to my computer while also being able to be used on its own is the Wacom Moving Pad Pro 14. So I'm definitely gonna look into that. That's gonna be really interesting. Yeah, it was just showing me a tablet that he got recently, and I decided to take that tablet. And he asked me if I wanted to try. I was like, sure. And at that moment, our one of our co-managers was asking us to leave because we had just punched out. So I decided to do a quick doodle of the co-manager saying "time's up" while looking angry and pointing at the door. And my coworker said that's pretty cool, and he thought that was pretty funny. And I was like, oh, thanks. Then we got out. Yeah, we're walking off to our cars, and yeah, he was telling me about all the different things we were discussing around the end of the job, and I said I'd be looking into it, and I do plan on looking into it. Then I drove off to home. When I arrived at home, everyone was either off away or asleep. Our family friend was asleep in the den. I said hello, they said hello back, and then they decided to go into their room. I then needed to use the restroom. After I was done, I decided to watch some videos by Techmoan about budget projectors, since we have our own budget projector arriving tomorrow. And I want to see, get an idea of what to expect from it. So, really interested to see how that works out. And then after watching that video, I remember us watching a little bit of his review of a 4K projector, and I was like, oh, that looks pretty cool. And I saw the price. I was like, what the heck? $1,000? It doesn't look that cool. So I was like, no, thank you. The main point from that video was you're sacrificing perfect contrast for having a bigger screen. So I was like, yeah, that makes sense. And then after that, I watched a new video by a YouTube channel called Neryl, where he reviewed the Metroid Prime 4 Beyond game, and basically said when the game is focused on the singular levels and experiences, it's at its best. It's at its worst when it recycles missions, puts you in the desert, and has you hit energy crystals over and over and over again. And of course has the annoying side character that no one likes. So, yeah. He says there's a lot that's annoying about it, and that he wishes it wasn't filled with so much bloat, which is kind of a shame to hear. And then after that, I was actually watching it while I was drinking some chamomile tea with turbinado sugar in it and some almond milk, and a single serving of what was that called again? Kettle corn chips. I think it was from a brand called Chica Pop. And finally, I was like, okay, I'm kind of starting to realize this is going on a bit while. And then I found a video of like a guy talking about how to be sad forever, and basically he said, be stagnant, don't get involved with other groups of people, um, do as little moving as possible, just live on a screen all day long, never get actively involved in like what you want to pursue, and then trick your mind pretending you think you're accomplishing something, really you're just running in circles. So that's pretty much what the video was, and it kind of was like, oh, that I can relate to that a little bit, or maybe a lot of it. And then there was other people on the YouTube comments that were saying, low key, this is me. This guy was able to save my whole life without me even talking to him or meeting him once. So yeah, it's clear we're having that epidemic of laziness and over reliance on screens and data and technology. So yeah, it's a shame. Yeah. And then I remember I saw like a YouTube video where it was like why bachelor's degrees are meaning less and less as time goes on. And I just clicked it to read the comments, and a lot of people in the comment section said, yeah, at this rate, just choose like either a good trade job that won't be replaced forever, field work that won't be replaced, or like jobs where it requires a human to be on board, like flight jobs in like airplanes and things like that. So yeah, it's clear that as time goes on with AI advancing, getting more and more intelligence, it's causing a huge issue for a lot of people who are choosing to spend absorbent amounts of money on degrees and thinking they're gonna get a big shot, when really like the idea of being a big shot from a bachelor's degree is becoming increasingly dated as things like AI becomes more and more intelligent. At least that's what people said in the comment section. That's what the video implied. So that's a real shame to see for sure, because it requires so much time, dedication, and energy into getting something like that, and not seeing it pay off is a real sad shame. After that, I was like, okay, I better go to sleep. So I got up, I took my vitamins, I brushed my teeth, I moved my laundry that was clean from my bed. Oh, I took my laundry out from the dryer and put it on my bed in the morning after the split pea soup, by the way. I moved the laundry on top of a desk, and I'm going to be folding it tomorrow and putting it away. It's just there now temporarily. And then I decided to record this video. And that's pretty much my day in a nutshell. So, yeah, overall, pretty good. Do I wish there was things that were different about it? Yes, of course. But overall, not bad. Oh, I also got cookies from a customer, and I gave one of the cookies to one of my coworkers, and then I had two of them. They were like buttered powdered cookies, so there you go. There's another little detail for you. All right, I'm gonna stop recording, upload this, and go to bed. Good night, everybody, and take care.